In this video, we're going to take a look at how we can modify the text on our covers. So I'm going to go ahead and once again, we'll go to the spiral book. So I'll go ahead and click on the spiral book. We'll go to the template and do play. It'll bring up our cover. And I'm going to zoom in on this a little bit so that we can see what we are doing here. Move that over. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here to where it says cover and double click on the T, and that'll highlight the text for us. And now we're ready to work with our text and make the modifications. Now the first thing that we can do is we can change the font. That's the typeface, the way that the text actually looks. So I'm going to come up here to the toolbar where it says Arial. I'll click on the drop down, and this will show you all the various fonts that you have available to you, and you can scroll down through this list and find one that you feel is going to work for your cover or the type of look that you are going for. And I'm going to come down here and choose the Charlemagne standard. Let's see how that looks. And that might be the look that I am going for. Now if you wanted to modify your text, you can do that as well, as we also showed in an earlier video. So I'm just going to go ahead and say that this is my ebook. Again, we can move that around by grabbing the arrow here and moving this over. Now if I don't like that text, I can always grab the text tool here and move over top of it and select it, and I could change the font as well. So if I wanted to choose another one, I can choose those. Now something I wanted to point out here is when I'm looking at these fonts, notice how all of these are, or these are mixed case, some are uppercase and some are lowercase. But when we were on the Charlemagne, let's go back up and grab Charlemagne. They all looked uppercase. So some of the fonts are only going to give you uppercase letters. So you want to pay attention to that as well if you're not looking at uppercase. Also, I wanted to point that out so you don't go crazy trying to figure out why it looks like your caps lock key is on when you're typing lowercase. So let's go ahead here. And again, I'm going to choose something that I think is going to look good. And we'll adjust this here. Get that typed in so I can adjust my font. The other thing that I wanted you to notice too is notice when you highlight it, it tries to show the reverse color. So in this case, my text was white. It tries to show that it's highlighted by switching over to black. That's going to be important here in just a moment. Now, each font is going to have some different modifications that you could do to it. In this case, with the bold that I chose here, you only have a regular. You don't have another option. If I were to choose another one, now this might change, and this gives me a bold option. And if I chose something else, notice I've only got the regular there, so I don't have another option. So each one is going to be a little bit different as far as whether it gives you another feature here or not. You'll just have to play with those to see if that option is available. Now the other thing that you can do is adjust the size. So right now mine is set as a 52 point. If I want to make that a little bit larger, I can click on it and I can choose the size. Now a lot of people think that 72 is the largest size that you can go to because that's all that's on that drop down list. But you can modify that. So if I just come in here and I'm going to click and drag over the 72 and I'm going to change this to 144, you can see that that gets quite large. And I'm going to change this back to, I'll just go with a 66 on there. You can also adjust the look if you want this to be crisp or strong or smooth. We'll make some minor adjustments to that. I'm going to leave it on the sharp. Now you can adjust the alignment, and some things the alignment doesn't matter. So when we're moving a small box like this, it really doesn't move if this is left, center, or right aligned. It's going to go based on where you started typing it. I'm going to leave it left aligned because that's where this box started with, and then you can just move that around. But you can play with that alignment. When you have multiple lines, that's going to have more of an impact as well. So I'm going to say my ebook I'm going to say buy it. Notice now with the left alignment, we may not like that look. So if I go with I need to select both those lines. If I go with a center alignment and grab my tool here to move it, notice that we've got a better look there. So this is all going to depend on what you are doing with your title and your text. But that's where you can do the alignment. Now the other thing that we can adjust is the color. Now the next box over, because I had white text, looks like a white box here. But if I click on that white box, it'll bring up my select color tool here, and I can move through my colors, and I can find a color within the spectrum that I like, something that's going to go with my background that I have there, and I can play around with this, adjusting it on the spectrum here, and then I can adjust it within here as well. Once I get the color that I want, we'll have that all set. Again, as mentioned in the earlier video as well, we have our R, G, and B values. So if you wanted to make sure that you match that color in other documents, other things that you were working with, you would want to make sure that you had these numbers available to you so that you could use them on the other document as well. I'm going to go ahead and say OK there. Now it looks like it's blue. That's where I said that it would be important that it's trying to show you the reverse. So if we had a color wheel, it's indicating that the blue would be on the reverse side of the yellow. So that's where you're going to get the reverse. If you wanted to see that, if you just click away from it, you'll notice now that you've got that yellow. So you can adjust that there. Now we were talking about the layers in the earlier lesson. Notice here that we've got the FX down here as well. And I could actually add the drop shadow to my text. I'm just going to adjust the distance a little bit, get this to stand out a little bit more, a little bit of a spread, increase the size of it a little bit, and then we could adjust the color of it as well. So if I wanted it, instead of being black, if I wanted it to have a little bit of an orange color to it, I could do that. Just something that would complement the text color that we have, and I'll say OK, and now you notice that you have that effect, and we put the color on it as well. And then get out of the dialog box, I'll say OK, and now we're back to our text. So that's how you can give the text a little bit more of a stylized look, how you can adjust the color, the typeface, and make sure that it matches up with your project style and appearance.